Hey, everybody. Hey, I'm here to talk to you again today about chapter 2 of this book written by Cayman Kelly. He is a Sirius XM voiceover and radio personality, has an award winning show called Heart and Soul. He wrote a book called From $6 an Hour to $1 Million Dream. And this is what the book looks like. Chapter 2 is called Developing Your Gift. Here's some key things that he talked about in this chapter. He talked about in regards to your gift, action needs to be taken immediately in regards to your gift, whatever that action is. He says gifts won't develop without action. So although you have gifts, like that's kind of like your potential, it's in a bag, but it won't come out the bag unless you develop it. You take the time to develop it. You have to be able to, he says you have to be able to determine the difference between what is really a gift of yours, what is a passion of yours, and what is something that's just the thought of the moment that's going to burn out. You're not really going to put the time and effort into it. Your passion, your gift is something that you're willing to put the time and effort into no matter how hard it gets. He says you have to remember when he first started doing radio, he wasn't even getting paid, but because it was such a passion, he stuck with it. He says you never know when your breakthrough is going to happen. So you have to always be working, planning, and developing your gift. So when that opportunity comes, you'll be ready for it. Next thing is you have to stick with it. No matter how tough things get, you got to be willing to stick with it. Things will get tough. It's not going to be easy. But you can do it. If it's your passion, you'll keep going through it. He talks about how when in regards to yourself, you have to be willing to take action for yourself. You have to be willing to speak up for yourself. If you're on a job or something like that and you feel like, you could do better in the job, you need to move up. Sometimes your bosses or people in charge won't know that. You have to go and speak for yourself. He says he lost out on an opportunity once because he didn't speak up for himself. And that's what the manager told him when he went to speak to the manager. He says, you have to be willing to put it out there. You got to be willing to take a risk. You got to be willing to put your gift out there in front of the world. You got to be willing to share it with the world. In his first chapter, he talked about that's one of the things that gifts are given to us for, to share with the world. One of his big things that he became famous for is his voice-over work. He started to do voiceovers for various companies, various radio stations. They were requesting to use his voice. He met a person named Brian Apple. He says this proved to be a valuable friendship. Brian knew a lot about different technologies, different like that. He also had an extensive network of people that he was able to introduce Cayman to, so that was a valuable friendship. Through his friendship with Brian Apple, his voiceover work really increased. He started getting calls from different places around the country for his voiceover work. So his wife started to look at his life and say, man, like, what are you going to do? Because you got this radio career and you got this voiceover career. It seems like the voiceover thing is what you really want to do. When are you going to leave the radio alone and just do the voiceover stuff? If that can sustain for you and do what you want and help you do what you want to do in life. So his wife put that on the table for him. He says, you have to be working toward your passion. You have to be working toward what your passion is. He talks about if you're working a job and eventually you want to be off that job and you want to go into what your passion is. Maybe you're working, let's say at a gas station. That's not really what you want to do, but it's paying the bills. But really, you want to be a painter. You want to own your own art studio. He says at some point you have to be willing to leave that gas station to go fulfill the purpose and dream that you really want to live. He says create a timeline to do that and put a plan out. Put a definite date on, hey, this is when I want to be. I want to leave the gas station and I want to be doing my art studio. That's what I'm going to live my life to do is that. He says you have to be willing to take a risk. If you really want to live your best life, at some point you got to be willing to take the ultimate risk of leaving your job if that's what you want to do, and living out your dream and sharing your gift with the world. You have to be willing to do it and be letting them know that it's not going to be easy, but it's worth it for you because in the end you'll be living the life that you want to live. Once again, this is that was chapter 2. It's called Developing Your Gift. The book is From $6 an Hour to $1 Million Dream. It was written by Cayman Kelly. Thank you.